Hi, Achim here, InnerSpace Explorers. Today I just want to give you a brief update on the double rebreather video because there were so many people asking questions on the second rebreather and how to maintain the second rebreather and how to make sure my decompression schedule is okay if I have to switch rebreathers, etc. And for a while I was really scratching my head. I was like, what are they talking about? And then I talked to somebody in the US, Henry, and by the way, thank you very much, Henry, for pointing this out to me, who's also into double rebreather, and we chatted a little bit, and he's probably doing that on a way more advanced level than I'm doing it. And so that made me aware of what you guys are asking and what the problem is, so to speak, and I want to clarify that a little bit so you guys understand a little bit better from where I'm coming from and why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. So there will be a couple of explanations that for a rebreather diver are obvious, but I'm aware that there's a lot of non-rebreather divers on this channel, so I want to make sure you guys understand what I'm talking about. So generally, there's electronic rebreathers and manual rebreathers, and there's actually a couple of videos about this topic on the channel, so if you want to scroll down the channel a little bit or search for rebreather, you will find videos where I'm explaining that more in detail. But generally speaking, somebody's diving in ECCRs on electronic rebreather. The rebreather is basically maintaining a certain partial pressure of oxygen by itself. So it's taking the information given by the oxygen cells in the computer, and then based on what they read, the computer is giving you a decompression profile. So I'm not going to talk about if this is good or bad. I'm just explaining how it works. So if you are running two ECCRs on the same dive and you have like your primary and your backup, and you're running your primary rebreather, let's say on a PO2 of 1.0, just as an example. And so it's calculating your decompression based on that. And then let's say after an hour you have to switch to your second rebreather, and that rebreather, for example, was running on 1.3. Then this will show you a significantly shorter decompression profile than the other one. And that could harm or kill you. And so it's important that both of these rebreathers are driven by the same gas and maintain the same PO2 throughout the dive. And that's obviously a challenge that you have to master. And that was what Henry was pointing out to me and how he was doing that, which is awesome. And I just saw a post this morning that he did a dive visit and it worked out perfectly, and his computers were like 1 minute apart from each other, which is an awesome result. And that made me understand like, okay, this is what everybody's asking about. And this problem never bothered me because I'm taking a totally different approach. And again, this is not that my stuff is better or whatever. It's just a different approach, right? He's taking that pass, I'm taking this pass, or it's not about Henry. So it's most people are doing ECCRs nowadays, and all the people that I know that are doing stuff like this are doing ECCR. I'm just old and stubborn and going my own way as usual. And so what I'm doing is I'm diving two MCCRs. So these KISS-based MCCRs do not do anything themselves. They are very simple machines. And the way I'm maintaining the PO2 that I want is that I'm pressing the button and inject oxygen. So they have a constant flow of oxygen trickling into the system. So usually 0.7 liters per minute, which is roughly what you metabolize, or actually it's a little bit less than what you metabolize. So just at some point you realize, oh, my PO2 is a bit low, so you some more oxygen and your PO2 is where you want it again. So I'm just using a PO2 reading on my rebreather. There is no computer. So I'm not running a computer on my rebreather that's telling me, oh, this is what you've been breathing, this is the depth you've been, this is your decompression. Not at all. I'm just reading my 3 cells on computer number 1 for rebreather number 1, and then gauge number 2 for the second rebreather. So my decompression is based on a bottom timer. So I know my depth, I know my time, and I have a total concept for that dive. So it's not I'm running a 160 meter dive on Deco on the fly. So obviously I've been playing with this concept before, and I have an idea of how much Deco I will have for my planned dive. So 160 meters, 20 minutes, gives this amount of decompression, and then I make the decision how I spread this over my stops. And of course, what I can do on the fly is I can adjust. So if I'm coming down and after 5 minutes I realize this is not going to work out, or there's a problem or whatever, and I call the dive, then I'm not doing decompression for 20 minutes on the bottom. I do decompression for 5 minutes on the bottom, and I can adjust this on the fly. If I get entangled or super excited because there's something that keeps my attention and I'm not going up after 20 minutes, but I extend my stay for another 5 minutes and I leave the bottom after 25 minutes, then I can still adjust and do more deco as I need it. But there's no computer involved, which means if I switch to my second rebreather, it doesn't affect my decompression at all. So it also doesn't matter what PO2 this other rebreather is, it just has to be breathable. So as I said, there's this constant flow of oxygen in the rebreather. Obviously on my spare rebreather, on my backup, that oxygen is switched off. So the only thing that this rebreather is doing, it just, the deeper I go, it actually will inject diluent, which is a manual thing. Again, it's like a second stage. So it maintains equal pressure and it's not flooding. And if I switch at depth to that rebreather, it's full of diluent, and diluent's breathable. So no problem at all. The only thing I have to do is, when I switch to my second rebreather, it's a breathable gas. It's probably not the perfect PO2, but that I can adjust within a couple of seconds. So I'm switching to the other one, and it shows me, at depth it will show me pretty much exactly what I want. In my particular case, 0.8 bar PO2. If it's like, I don't know, somewhere between 100 and 120 or whatever, it will be a little bit lower, but still breathable. I mean, everything above 0.2 is not a problem at all, right? It's not what you want to do during the dive, but I can switch on that gas, there's no problem at all. And then I inject a little bit of oxygen. Actually, I'll turn on the oxygen on the second rebreather, and everything will be fine. And it doesn't affect my decompression, because my decompression is not run by a computer that's connected to this rebreather. And so the only thing I have to do is, on the way up, if I'm getting shallower, the second rebreather will be connected to another diluent. And there is a smaller diluent bottle on the second rebreather that has a higher oxygen or a more oxygen-rich diluent. So in case I have to switch on this second rebreather on my way up, so during my decompression, I'm not switching to a super hypoxic mix that is probably going to cause an issue. That's the only thing I have to worry about. So if I'm going shallower than 80 meters, so I will disconnect the drive stage that's running Heliox, and I will attach, or I will switch on the second diluent bottle that's actually connected to the rebreather. So in case I have to switch to that second rebreather, I'm on a breathable gas. But that's the only precaution that I have to take. And for me, that is way less drama than maintaining a second rebreather. But again, I'm not saying this is wrong or right. It's just a total different approach, and which makes a lot of that thinking obsolete. So all the questions I received, how are you going to do this? I'm not doing it at all, because I'm running a complete different system. For me, more familiar, more easy to maintain, and more logic. I mean, I don't like ECCRs anyway, and therefore I never really thought about this as a problem. And then just when I published this video and people will start asking like, how do you do this? I was like, nah. And so yeah, I just wanted to clarify that, and also make you aware that there's two very different approaches to the same topic. And maybe there's people out there that watch these videos that do double rebreather one or the other way and can comment on that. Would appreciate that, because it's always interesting to see what others do. And if you have more questions, comments, etc., just put them in the comment section, or drop me a message, and I'm happy to discuss these things. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you liked it. Take care. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.